folks. Welcome in Senators Racing, KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dykert. Thanks for joining us on another big show this week. All about Smash-O-Rama at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway this past Saturday night, the 8th annual Smash-O-Rama. Of course, the dirt track, Mississippi Thunder, we were off this past Friday night, but we'll be back in action this coming weekend with a full slate, pure stock, super stock, 600 mods, A and B, USRA modifieds, and the mini mods. Gates opening up at 5, racing starting at 7 o'clock at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Of course, La Crosse Speedway will be back to a regular racing format this coming Saturday night. We've got late models, sportsmen, Thunder stocks, street stocks, and figure eights. They're going to have their first official points race coming up Saturday night, of course, at Smash-O-Rama. It was the first figure eight boat race that I think I've ever seen at La Crosse Speedway. That's going to be coming up later in the program. Also going to talk a little monster truck driving and stunt cycling in the segments 2 and 3 of today's program. Let's get things started right off the bat as we were at the La Crosse Speedway Saturday night for the 8th annual Smash-O-Rama. 2 cameramen and a producer and a whole lot of action on the action track quarter miles. We bring you the steel wall crash. First-time stuntman Thomas Farah brought things out on a Saturday night, called the tracks, and he wanted to do his due. And right off the bat, he did. Now, you know, in the past, we've had cars that have flipped that one there like 360 in the air, but it was just the sound of what that one sounded like when it came back down to the ground was simply awesome. And that got things started as the rains were going to start coming in. The steadfast crowd has stayed hard and true to that racetrack. And Tom Farah delighted the crowd, and we'll show you that, what else he did later in this segment. Motorcycle stuntmen, we're back again. It's Joey Beavers out of Fort Atkinson. Ryan Suchanak coming out of Edgerton. Suchanak, as a matter of fact, in the Guinness Book of World Records, had the fastest wheelie on ice this past February, 109.5 mile per hour. And these guys, every time they come back to La Crosse, they just delight this crowd. You never know what they're going to do. They've been pairing up with each other for the past 14 years. Wheelie stops like you see right there. Suchanak actually had a shot later in the night where he was blowing off pink smoke off the back of his tires. And those are 2 of my guests on the program today as we sat down and talked to them. And we're going to find out a little bit more what it takes to be a stunt motorcycle driver and the Guinness Book of World Records and all kinds of good things with both those guys. Another guest in the program today is Jim Burns out of Rockford, Illinois. As you're going to see right now, he is Mechanical Mischief. He's got the monster truck. And I'll tell you what, the first time out was nice because he hit the 2 tires in the corners you see right here. I'm glad we slowed this down. Look at this wheelie. All right, well, there it is. That's phenomenal. Those tires alone are 700 pounds apiece, so you're lifting 1,400 pounds off the ground with 1,200 pounds of horsepower. And what a great job he did. He came out twice. Matter of fact, he came out when it was raining, something monster truck drivers don't normally like to do. And 360s got faster. His wheelies were faster. The crunching got just incredible. And we really welcomed him back to La Crosse. Matter of fact, he started at La Crosse in 2007, September that year, and he's going to join us in the program as well. And again, you're going to hear more about that monster truck on today's program. Jim Burns and Mechanical Mischief, what a great job he did at the La Crosse Speedway. 2 competitors came out in the rollover competition on this Saturday night. And man, you talk about owning the class. Dan Ostoff right there went around 5 times. And this was 3 trips down the track. There's number 2. And the big thing is, well, can you restart the car? That was his competitor. Oh, man. Taylor Dobbs was trying and trying. It's like a turtle lying sideways. You know, his legs kind of kick out as he tries to get movement. Well, there came a point here he wasn't even stuck on the ramp. It was just the way the tires were embedded in the ground. And we gave him some credit. The crowd didn't give him the point, but we gave him some credit for coming out anyways as Chuck Deary almost gets lambasted by the trunk. So Dan Ostoff has a perfect roll 3 times around. And Taylor Dobbs did actually come back out and score himself some points in the rollover competition. That was very interesting. T-bone crash. Again, Tom Farah came back out. He comes out of Sparta. You saw him do the steel wall earlier. Now, this was the Wisconsin Lottery trailer. This is what it did look like. You know, I would have used this as at Oktoberfest. All I would have had to do was clean it up. Now I wouldn't, though. Right through Tom Farah. That car was strong. That's the 2nd time. And then he went through a 3rd time. And the crowd said, hey, we wanted him to keep going. He would have gone, but you notice right here, he blew a tire in the front right, so that stalled his abilities to get back around the track and do it again. but he said, take that trailer, and he nailed it that last time right there for busting on his tire. So first timer, Tom Farr, stuntman. I thought he did a great job, and the crowd sure enjoyed what he did as well. We get into the Hornets. They ran him in the rain, and it was a good downpour. And I swear, folks, there were drivers getting faster in the rain. And before we show you highlights of the phenomenal first-time win for a rookie driver, Mark Bornitz, you know when he's got a probe up there, he is so hard to beat. Well, he broke something under the tire. I'm not sure if it was a mount or what it was, but he almost went over that wall. You can see his skid marks go up and over. That was the end result. And Mark said on Facebook, well, that's what you get for running rusty parts. Well, Mark's going to be back out. He's got that thing fixed already, and he's going to be back out to hit the Hornet class again. You notice the track was dry there during that heat race. Well, let's go to the feature in the last 2 laps, and you talk about a dominating night for a rookie. Jackson Brewer did it. He drives the 0-2 orange and black entry. As the rains were coming down, some drivers were getting faster and faster. We're talking Mike Carlson, Josh Viner, Nate Towner. I mean, the speeds these guys were getting in the rain was just phenomenal. Jeff Thompson even getting as quick as he was. As you see Viner going through the field, there's Towner, second place. And by the time Towner had already taken the flag, Brower was already heading down the back straightaway. He almost lapped the entire field if you give him a couple more laps. And congratulations and a great job to that young man. Again, he's a rookie in the class this year, and he put his name on that action track quarter mile as one of the drivers to watch. He also came back out in the figure 8 race. Now, this was all house-supplied cars. As you're going to see, we had a Ford Explorer. I think we had 2 vans, had a couple of pickup trucks. There's the field, and you see the boats that are attached. After we gave the crowd the chance to count them down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Couple of parade laps, as I want to call it right off the bat here. And after they got things going, well, the speeds picked up. The boats got knocked off. They got smashed, crunched. The sounds were phenomenal because some of those boats actually slammed into the front straightaway wall because of the way they were whipping around the corners. And this is what Chuck Deary was. He was going to wet the track down anyways because it helps keep the sparks down from the boats. He didn't need to. Mother Nature supplied the wetness. And Jackson Brewer, again, had never done that before. Came out and got the crowd vote and ended up winning the first ever figure 8 boat race on the action track quarter mile. Well, we wanted to try to dry things off. What better way to do it than the green Mamba jet car? You know, my son's running the camera there in turn 1, Ryan. Surprised he didn't break out into a heavy sweat the way that he dusted that thing up right off the bat in the corner. And this is a sped-up version of what it's like to melt a car. Now, my producer told me he was going to do this, and I was trying to envision what it looks like to melt a car in fast time. This is outstanding. It was so hot down there. I tried to get some really good pictures of the sparks you're going to see blowing across the back portion of the track. And once the pieces started to come undone, the front end, the bumper bar was gone. There were rims flying off. The top flew off. And this could be the entire show. There's so many folks I talked to after we were done with Smash-O-Rama that said, one of the reasons we came out was to watch the Green Mamba jet car. You really don't get to see him. That's the first time he's been at La Crosse in June. Usually he comes out for the Trailer Race of Destruction later in the year, which this year I think is in August. And it was a treat to have him back out in June. So those were the highlights from the 8th annual Smash-O-Rama. We had a nice crowd. We'd like to thank those folks that stayed out through the rain. And when we return, we're going to talk to both of our motorcycle stuntmen and the driver of Mechanical Mischief, Jim Burns, right here at Seven Rivers Racing.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
For a limited time, save over $600 on select American Standard systems. Call now for details.
Holman American Legion, Post 284. It's all about veterans' rights, quality of life. The Legion belongs to the veterans it serves. The American Legion supports Holman High School sports and local NASCAR racing. Did you know the Legion is open to the public? Stop by for a cold one. Tuesday lunch is a home-cooked meal. Supper is Buck Burgers. Thursday, it's tacos. They can be the place for your wedding reception or meeting. Holman American Legion. It's for veterans and for the people of Holman.
At Cousin Subs, we never settle for good. We always strive for better. Since 1972, we've been creating our signature Deli Fresh subs. We start with fresh bread that's baked every day. Then we freshly chop vegetables and slice the meat daily. It's how we do it, and always have. Why? Because you deserve better.
Hi, folks. Welcome in 7 Rivers Racing on KQAG TV. I'm Dan Dyker at the La Crosse Speedway. When you watch the show, the actual show will be already over with, but we're going to talk to some guys that were a part of the show as we had the Wisconsin Lottery 8th Annual Smash-O-Rama here at the La Crosse Speedway. Of course, we taped the segments before the big show happened, and what a night we had again. My guest was one of those that put on the big show. Motorcycle stuntman put on the big show, and of course, although Hornets did a nice job as well. Want to welcome in a great guy, comes out of Rockford, Illinois. He's been coming up here, I think, as long as I have. I've been announcing up here. Jim Burns, and he drives Mechanical Mischief. Good seeing you, buddy.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me back.
Good to have you back on the program as well. Matter of fact, this may be the first time I've had you on the program.
I believe it is.
Usually you're stuck under that huge truck of yours down there doing some tires or some kind of work.
Yeah, it's constant. You know, always something to do to it to go out and perform for 2 minutes or 5-10 minutes, whatever it turns out to be, is hours and hours worth of work.
You know, this is the 8th Annual Smash-O-Rama. You've been here at least 6, 7, 8, all 8 years.
I think in this September will be 7 and, well, beginning of 8 years.
And we've had a lot that have come and gone, that have either come with you, that have traveled with you, those that have maybe done a show with you. But here you are again, you're back again, and a huge fan favorite. People almost expect you to be back here at La Crosse.
Well, that's good. You know, I almost feel like sometimes they're probably tired of seeing me here.
No,
but,
never that move.
No, I always enjoy coming here. Like I said, this was actually my first show in September. So, you know, it's great to be back year after year, and, you know, my favorite place to be for sure.
So now talk about Mechanical Mischief. Of course, Jesse, our cameraman, is going to get some B-roll later on, and of course we highlight it on the actual show next week. Talk about the truck. What is it you bring out here?
The body is old-fashioned, kind of like I like it, and not too old. It's a 2000 Chevy. It's all fiberglass, just a replica body. The truck itself is all custom-made, tube frame. The motor's 512 cubic inch big block Chevy. 1,200 horsepower, roughly 13 maybe on a good day. The tires are almost 6 feet tall, 700 pounds apiece, and believe it or not, the truck will fly.
So what is it about the configuration? You know, when we talk to some of the race car drivers out here, there's things they do to their cars to make them faster, slower, camber, that whole shebang. What is it that in particular you like about that truck that you can do?
Well, as far as performance, we can gear the transfer case up or down, overdrive or underdrive it for different track conditions. A longer track, we overdrive the transfer case so we can get a little bit more top speed out of it. As far as the motor goes, there's not a whole lot of tuning, but like per se between rounds. We're limited on overdrive on the blower at 10% over, so it's more of a safety thing. You know, we need the power, but we don't need every last horsepower out of it to do what we do. So
now, folks that have been to the La Crosse Speedway know that you're pretty much on the front straightaway. You do Bernie's at one end, you come back down, and when you watch monster trucks on TV, you have all these different things. You guys are in arenas, you're doing dirt, you're doing long straightaways, you're doing a lot of turns. What's your preference?
I like doing donuts, and I guess my favorite is doing slap wheelies where we can hit a small obstacle, get the truck straight up and down on the tailgate, and try and carry it as far as you can. It's kind of difficult sometimes because you can't really see where you're going.
You've done that out here several times when you come out of turn one and go back down the straightaway. There's several times you've hit that pile so hard that nose is facing straight up.
Oh yeah, yep. That's a lot of fun. Adrenaline really gets going at that point, and just keep after it and hope the fans are screaming at the end.
Now, one question I've always had for you, when you do that, and I see your nose hitting sky high, you pretty much have no control over that truck. It's going to fall where it wants to fall, either side to side or straight back down. What are you thinking when that nose is facing to the sky and the front end's getting ready to come back down?
Well, you kind of feel it right away. As soon as you hit the cars and floor the throttle, the truck either takes off straight, or you can actually feel the truck start to turn in the air one way or the other, and at that time you kind of get ready for corrective measures.
which has to be almost a split-second decision, because, again, with all that weight coming down on a pile of cars, you don't have a whole lot of time to decide, okay, this is what I need to do to get this corrected.
Right. It's like you said, split-second decision on what to do. Typically, it's just don't hit the brakes. That usually makes things worse. Just stay after the throttle and steer whichever way you need to go to keep it upright.
So you've been back at La Crosse going on 8 years now. What other shows do you do on a yearly basis?
I do a lot here in the Midwest. Rockford Speedway, again, is one of my favorites. That's hometown show there. A lot of indoor stuff during the winter. Also trying to stay in the Midwest, but all over the place, really.
Now, so Rockford's asphalt, La Crosse's asphalt. Do you ever get it in the dirt at all?
Oh, yeah. Dirt all the time, especially in the wintertime. All the indoor stadiums and such are all dirt shows. You know, huge hills and obstacles there. And either way, asphalt's good for donuts. You know, get the tires smoking, and that's always a fan favorite as well.
I want to say it was a couple years ago, just over to the right of me, to the left of the camera, that you were doing donuts so hard that I swear to goodness that those tires, all of them came up off the ground, and you were hovering above the speedway.
Yeah, you can really get it going if you stick with it long enough. It's terribly hard on parts, all that stuff spinning at Mach speed, but yeah, it's a ton of fun to sit there and spin donuts. Get a little dizzy after a while, but that's all part of it.
Of course, a fan favorite here at the La Crosse Speedway when it comes to the Smash-O-Rama and the Trailer Race of Destruction. Jim Burns, coming out of Rockford, Illinois, drives Mechanical Mischief, and you're going to see a lot of film on him during today's program. It's always a pleasure to have you back out. We'll let you get back and get some tuning in, because we're about ready to go racing.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks again for having us, and hope to see everybody out.
All right, Mechanical Mischief is the name of the truck. Jim Burns out of Rockford is the driver, and he's going to put quite the show on here. I can guarantee you that when we get underway with Smash-O-Rama. Next up, two of my favorite guests here at the La Crosse Speedway when it comes to the Smash-O-Rama. We're going to bring them on. We're going to go from 4 wheels to 2 wheels next on 7 Rivers Racing.
We're here when the sun rises. And when the bread rises too. And we're here slicing a deli fresh every day. And every morning, we're chopping it all up. Why do we put so much effort into making it fresh? Because you deserve better.
Holman American Legion Post 284. It's all about veterans' rights, quality of life. The Legion belongs to the veterans it serves. The American Legion supports Holman High School sports and local NASCAR racing. Did you know the Legion is open to the public? Stop by for a cold one. Tuesday lunch is a home-cooked meal. Supper is Buck Burgers. Thursday, it's tacos. They can be the place for your wedding reception or meeting. Holman American Legion. It's for veterans and for the people of Holman.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
For a limited time, save over $600 on select American Standard systems. Call now for details.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modified,
600 mods.
pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Welcome back, folks. Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. I'm Dan Diker. Smash-O-Rama, the 8th annual, brought to the Wisconsin Lottery. By the time, again, you watch this show, it's all said and done. All the thrills and spills and smashing was already over with. But I had to pull away two of my favorite entries out here at the La Crosse Speedway when it comes to Smash-O-Rama and the trailer race of destruction. Got to know these guys quite well over the past 7 or 8 years, and that would be Joey Beavers and Ryan Suchanak, our motorcycle stuntmen. Nice to have you guys in the program.
Thanks for having us.
I think this may be a first time to have you guys out here.
First time at La Crosse?
First time on the TV show.
Yeah,
I think so. And you guys are going to have to share the mic back and forth there.
We don't share well.
We haven't had a good scrap in the winner's circle in quite a while. You guys can have a power struggle with the mic.
We could probably do that.
Great to have you guys back. Joey, a lot of stuff you guys have been doing during the wintertime. I really got to associate myself with your Facebooks to see what was going on, and we welcome you back to the Speedway.
Thank you.
7 years now?
7 years.
And now you guys were one of the ones, even Mechanical Mischief does. You guys usually come back twice a year. You come back for Smash-O-Rama. That's how they kick off their La Crosse season. And you come back for the Trailer Race Destruction. What keeps bringing you guys back?
The crowd and the atmosphere here. We get out here, and while we're riding, we just hear the crowd screaming for us, so we know they like what we're doing.
I was going to ask you guys last year, but I didn't get a chance to get down to the pits afterwards. When say you're doing some tricks, and you guys have the rev limiters kicked up, and it's real loud, and your bikes are screaming, or you're sitting on the front straightaway throwing up smoke, can you actually hear the crowd over the hum of your bike?
If they're loud enough, we can.
And they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you
great
guys,
crowd up here.
You folks want to see some great showmanship. You got to watch these two at the La Crosse Speedway, or whether they're at Madison, Rockford, wherever they are, because they really know how to work a crowd. And, half of entertaining for you guys is what you do on your bikes. The other half is showmanship. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's kind of like an art form in a way, stunt riding. Everybody has their different style, and you have to work with the crowd, and, it doesn't come overnight.
No, and you can tell you guys have been doing this for quite a while. How many years have you been stunt riding now?
14.
Joe? 14 years. Now, how long have you guys been a tandem? Because I know it's been almost the entirety.
Way too long.
Way too long.
Me and Joe have been across America together a few times, so we ride together a lot.
Had Ryan on the radio show this week, and you were saying that you guys have gone outside the United States as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, China, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Canada, and almost every single state in the U.S. So
now, Joey, when you guys do transfer or travel outside the United States, of course, you're seeing different bikes. You're seeing bikes from their home countries. You're seeing different riders. Did they ever just stop and watch you guys, or did they learn from you, or do you learn from them?
I want to say our style they learn for us. They think the United States stunt riding style is the way to go. We're kind of, full throttle, wide open. So everywhere we go, we get a huge crowd. We might like to see what they're doing, but, they stop and, they question us, and they try to pick up, the tricks we have here, and they start doing them over there.
What would you say would be the major differences, the way you guys stunt ride in the U.S. compared to what you see overseas?
Well, the U.S. bikes, what we have here, the horsepower, they're bigger bikes, so you lay in and get a little more wild than what they have over there. A lot of those countries only have a 250cc regulation, so when we're on 600 cc motorcycles, we could lay down the heat, and they can't.
So why the regulation? I never even realized there was a regulation like that before.
Yeah, different countries have different regulations like that. It's weird, but they have big bikes over there. They're just not as abundant as over here. So
right.
They get used to riding smaller bikes, 250s, 500s, and their style is a lot slower because they don't have as much horsepower.
Obviously, so like what people see at the La Crosse Speedway, when you guys start in turn one and race all the way down the front straight, the bikes can handle that, whereas a 250, 500 can't.
Right, yeah, but their style is a lot more smoother than ours because they're used to having no horsepower. So
sure.
We tend to get a little bit more loose, and it's more fun.
Videos I've seen of stunt motorcycle riders, especially overseas, it's a smaller course, too. I mean, they don't have courses like you have at the La Crosse Speedway or Rockford, or you guys were in Madison the other night. They don't have huge courses like that. It's always very small and contained.
Yeah, and competitions in the U.S. are the same way. Super small. It's usually 100 feet by 200 feet. So, like, when we were competing a lot, we had to practice in small, confined areas. It kind of takes the fun out of it, but it also makes you ride harder push yourself harder to learn more technical tricks, because it's kind of like flatland BMX, where it's all technical stuff.
So you're back at the La Crosse Speedway. I talked to you yesterday, and I know both of you guys have asked this question too. Why do you keep coming back to La Crosse?
It's the crowd, that good crowd that always comes back, and we get to talk to them after the race, and they're always really cool. So.
Do you ever have a bunch of fans come down? Because usually when the races are done or Smash-O-Rama is done, I don't hoard you guys or the monster truck, because they want to see the fans come in and they want to absorb hearing people talk about your performance. Do you have a lot of fans that come down?
Yeah, I always go through a ton of autograph cards here, so it's pretty cool.
Now, you were telling me yesterday, or actually on the radio show, we got into more detail. You got to talk to the fans about this world record you set back in February, because I had to even go back last night and watch the video again, and what an incredible feat.
Yeah, I broke my own current Guinness World Record for the fastest wheelie on ice at 108.5. I did it at 109.5 last winter. So.
Now, was Joe there?
Yeah.
What
Joe,
kind
how
of,
fast did you go?
I did it for my first time. It was 104 miles per hour.
God, that's crazy. Does that feel that? I mean, this is ice we're talking about here. Every time I bring that up in the cross area, people are like, there's no way you can go that fast on ice on a wheelie.
It's fast. I mean, 100 miles per hour on ice you can't describe it. At any time, it's wild. I guess 200 miles per hour on asphalt, maybe you can compare to 100 miles per hour on ice.
And see, and that was my next question. Asphalt is asphalt. This doesn't change. Obviously, the weather sometimes affects what the asphalt does. Ice is a totally different story. How do you even prepare a pond, or what was it, Lake
Koshkonong.
How do you prepare that?
You just have to adapt to the situations at hand.
I mean,
a couple
obviously,
degrees of temperature makes a huge difference.
Obviously, you have to go out and do something to your strip before you go out, or do you just go out there and blow it?
We go out and plow it for a couple months beforehand, and we put water on the ice, try to smooth out some of the rough spots, because it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Speed bumps. There's big bumps out there.
Sure.
Yeah, the lake doesn't freeze perfectly smooth.
So you broke your record from last year. You're in the Guinness book. What happens next year?
Going faster.
Gonna do it again?
Yeah.
What about this guy? Now, this will be really cool. You both get in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's someone we got to get Joey in there.
Man, you're putting me on the spot here. Every year I say I'm not going to do it. But by September comes around, we'll talk about it then.
I was going to say, your outdoor traveling season's done. You guys got to keep busy during the winter.
Yeah, like I say, around September, October, get a little bored. It gets cold out. So we'll see what happens, if I go after Ryan this year again or not. Or, maybe I'll just team up with him, help him, set the record really high.
Pour some more beer in the radiator. Before we let you guys go, talk about who sponsors your bikes, your bike team, and talk about the big barn business you've got going on down towards Fort Atkinson.
Yeah, I own the Bargain Barn in Edgerton, Wisconsin. I sell motorcycle parts, OEM Harley Davidson parts, Parts Unlimited, drag specialties, stuff like that. EVS Sports helps me out. Shinko tires, that's how I get the colored smoke. BST wheels, Brock's Performance, HEL brake lines. And Joe has some too.
Yeah, that keeps my bike going would be Moto Heaven and HEL brake lines. I guess I probably should say the Bargain Barn. I mean, Ryan does do a lot. We're teammates, but the Bargain Barn does do a lot for me. Yeah.
Always got to name drop. Always got to get the
wife
in there.
Wife keeps me going. She always tells me, "You better come home tonight. You got 2 little girls sitting at home waiting for you."
See, now when I go play in sports, the wife tells me if you get hurt, don't come home.
Well, we'll see what happens if we get hurt. Let's knock on some wood. She probably won't be too happy,
That's Joey Beavers and Ryan Suchanak, our motorcycle stuntman. It's always a pleasure to have them back at the Crosse Speedway. And if you do get a chance, check out the Bargain Barn on Facebook. You can check these guys out on Facebook as well. Watch where they're going. If they come to a track near you or some kind of a show, I'd really encourage you to go out because these guys put on a heck of a show, and it's well worth the price of admission to get in. That's going to do it from the La Crosse Speedway. More of Seven Rivers Racing coming up next on KQEG TV.